back in town, on a red baby, don't make me wait. Body like, been a long while, and I just wanna taste this be alone. I put it down when I come around.
Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Talkin Smack. I have my very best friend Lauren here. This has been a long time coming. So probably, 5 years ago, we wanted to start a podcast together, and neither of us wanted to do any of the work or like do any of it. We were like, we just want to be the talent. We just want to come in. So now that we have a production crew who are like 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10, I don't even know how much to like praise them. They're awesome. All of you need to hire them for headshots, filming, video, podcast production, all the things. But anyways, I wanted to bring my very best friend Lauren on because we have always wanted to talk about dating and relationships, things that we've gone through. We want to talk about red flags, green flags, deal breakers, all the things. So I think we're just going to jump right into it. But Lauren, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, I would also like to make it noted that we have known each other since we were in kindergarten. So I think you are my longest friend, probably, next to my sister. So I feel like that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Well, and especially too, like thinking about it, like we ran in the same circles, but we were never friends that would like hang out one-on-one. We were always like, oh yeah, we're friends.
Kenzie would always be my ride home from like places that were too far away. And then we'd like get to talking and be like, this chick's actually pretty cool.
Like, Lauren, I guess I kind of like her.
Yeah.
And then we became like really close when we were both home.
Yes.
I think around the time we were 21, 22.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. We had a little emergency within the friend group, and Kenzie and I got together, and it's never been the same.
Together.
We cried together. We trauma bonded, if we want to use those words, but it was great.
And now she can't get rid of me.
Nope.
We're just together.
And I'd also like to say you're my favorite person to talk to. So
you're my favorite.
Now that we
person
can
to
do
talk
it
to.
Publicly.
I know.
I'm loving
on
it.
Air.
On air.
I know. Okay, so we're going to get right into it.
Let's do
with
it.
the red flags, because I think this is like a really fun topic for us to unpack.
Yes.
And like a lot of these we can really get into.
Yes. Okay. It's red flag, green flag.
Red flag, green flag is pretty much what we're doing.
Okay.
And like there's a couple toxic traits thrown in there.
Sure.
And I think we could talk about our own toxic traits. I think that would
Okay.
be pretty fun. Okay, so this one is just crazy to me. This one was submitted on the anonymous app. I should have ran far, far away the minute he started asking me, "You're not embarrassed to be the funny fat friend in the group?" Red flag.
Okay, I have a few feelings about this one because, first of all, I think that that's not necessarily the bad thing is being the funny fat friend, but also it's just not the nicest words to say, because I think, like, as long as you're the person in the friend group, I think that's totally, I don't know, it's a red flag, but it's also not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but if someone said that to me, I'd be like, okay, next. Bye. What?
Wait, okay, so you're saying in a date, so this is a person that wants to date you, and they're saying like...
It sounds like it, yeah. Well,
no,
and if
okay,
they're like,
then
if they straight up come out and say, "You're not embarrassed to be the funny fat friend," right? Like what? Like if anyone were to try to make me feel embarrassed about something, I feel like I'd be like, okay, no.
Right. Well, especially in a dating sense, then it's like, okay, so are you just going to be the funny fat girl that I date or the funny fat guy that I date? I don't think that's the nicest thing to say. I'd say definitely red flag, but like, I don't, you're so on a different page than me.
Well, I feel like it would be a deal breaker for me because I'm like, okay, you want to make me feel embarrassed about something of like being who I am or
but
having
I think
fun.
some people don't know how to deliver a compliment. And I think that's...
Is that a compliment? Well, also, like, I would love to be called the funny friend of the group. But the moment, like...
I think
like
you're the funny friend of the group.
Wait, what? No, you're the funny friend.
Oh.
But like looking at that, like I've had like girlfriends who haven't seen me in a while be like, "Oh, you got thick or something," and I'm like, "Whoa, wait, what? Like, are you telling me I have nice hips and like an ass?" But like, if you're gonna come at me and be like, "You got thick," or like, you know, like I would not like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'd say ultimately red flag.
Yeah. But not a deal breaker.
Not yet.
This was like a hot topic on the last pod with Anne.
Okay.
Red flag. They wear flip-flops on a date that's not at the beach. How do we feel about flip-flops?
Oh, man.
I don't hate them.
I don't hate it.
I like some rainbows.
Is it Brayden?
Is it Brayden? We like Brayden. Brayden's fine.
I'd say I hate it. I mean, on a first date, to be honest, I'd be like, that's just not my speed.
Okay. Yeah, on a first date if you wear flip-flops.
Yeah.
But like, what if we wear cute sandals? Do you think guys would feel the same way?
Are they like thong sandals?
No.
Oh, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're fine. We're fine.
Okay,
this is kind of a crazy one that someone submit.
Okay.
Red flag. Mother still hangs out and invites the ex-girlfriend on trips when you have a new girlfriend. Deal breaker.
Is it your family? Because that would be me.
Wait, I didn't even think about that. Because if my parents invited you somewhere, I'd be like, hell yeah, this is my best friend. So for those of you who don't know, Lauren dated my brother for a bit of time. And before my big event, my wedding, they were still together and everything. And Lauren was invited everywhere, but she would have been anyways because of me.
Right. No, that was honestly a joke. I
didn't even think about that.
In a real life context, no. That is a deal breaker for sure. Well, unless she's really cool.
Well, I feel like you and I are different because we could look at it from a different perspective and be like, okay, like they had a relationship that was different than ours, and
ultimately deal breaker. I would feel insecure, I think, the entire time.
I think I would too. I'd be like,
what do they like about her that they don't like about me?
Your parents like her more than me.
Yeah.
That would be odd.
Yeah.
Okay. Red flag, love bombing.
I have been love bombed so many times.
I fall for it so easily. I'm like, me too. Like, let's go do all these things. Or like, oh my gosh, you love me so much.
What's so funny about talking like with people on like Hinge or Bumble or whatever, like they will honestly just judge your picture and they won't know who you are as a person. So they're just going off of this personality that they created. And so I think that's where love bombing stems from, because they're going off of like a person that they're creating in their head. And so I think that's why love bombing happens, to be honest. I don't know if it's always manipulative or always just a way to like, you know, get in your pants or something like that. But I think it's just like, it's honestly a huge red flag for me. Like, I've been love bombed so many times, and every single time I'm like, well, you just didn't know me yet, you know? Like,
okay, tell me a little bit about the situations that you felt like were love bombing, that you were like threw you off, because I feel like I don't even acknowledge those red flags. I just look at that like, oh, you're obsessed with me.
Oh,
and I love this.
I think it's like things like, so I've been on a few dates with, it would be our first date, and then they'd be like, oh, I can't wait for our 5th date where I can like take you over here on our first date. And I'd be like, that doesn't, like, it's like, we're just getting to know each other. That doesn't make sense. Or it's like, I've had it where I haven't even met the person and they say, oh, if we're still talking by May of next year, can you come with me to my sister's wedding?
Oh, okay.
And I'm like,
you're like, wait,
I always say yes. Because, like, you
of
never
course
know.
I'll be there.
But like at the same time, like, no, like it's just too much. And I think it's like, honestly, I think it's partly innocent because a lot of people don't have like the emotional awareness to realize that they're making something up in their head. But I don't know. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. And well, I feel like that's something I've tried to be more aware of, like dating this time around, of being like, okay, because I tend to do that. Like, I feel like I don't come off love bomby, but I like definitely think in my head, like, oh, if we were together at this point next year or whatever, like I think about those things. And I think it is fun to romanticize like in the beginning. Well, but like it's hard because I start to build up this picture of who they are, or like create this personality. So I feel like this time around I've been very like aware to not do that and just look at that like, okay, I'm going to take somebody by their actions. Like, I'm actually going to let them show me who they are rather than tell me, oh, I'm going to show up for you with flowers, or I'm going to show up and take you to lunch, or I'm going to do all these things. It's like, okay, that's great. You could say that. But like, now I'm taking actions for what they are. And like, that's what I'm focusing on.
I know. I think it's our beloved phrase, emotional masturbation, that I think a lot of people do. And it's not necessarily like sexual per se, but it's mostly just like making up these ideas in your head of like where it's gonna go. And I think, and you make up this whole scenario. It's like suddenly we're doing all what we did in middle school, where it's like you're like, oh, I'm Lauren Neely. You know, it's like you just make it up in your head. You know,
like
and
drawing on your notebook your first and new last name.
Right. And then like, and then suddenly you're like, oh wait, this is not at all what I wanted. You know. Anyway, but I think love bombing altogether is a huge deal breaker for me. Yeah.
Definitely red flag. I feel like sometimes it's hard to take yourself out of the situation and actually see that it's happening, especially if you're someone that's easily swept up in it. But yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so we've got a green flag.
Ooh.
This one kind of stumped me. Cares about their appearance and asks your opinion when going out in public.
Freaking green light.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I think it is really like attractive when
Yeah.
someone does care about what they look like
Yeah.
or like, but like, I like when someone just knows what to do instead of being like,
Right.
can you take me shopping and like get me a whole new wardrobe?
Right.
Like, I feel like past relationships, I would be like, we have to change your outfit. Like, we need to change your wardrobe. Like, if someone's like fashion forward or like
Right.
knows what to dress, it's like, oh, wait, you look hot. Like, that's sexy.
It's way better when they do know, but honestly, like the last few guys that I've dated, like they did not know and
Yeah.
they did not want to be changed at all. And I was like, I like it when they're like a little fashion curious, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I'd say it's a green light when they're like asking for help.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's when they're like confident about it too,
Yeah.
rather than being like,
They're
wait,
like-
does this look good on me? Or like my past couple relationships, like I would go and shop for myself and I would like buy them a couple
Right.
tops or like new things.
Totally.
And I'd be like, you should try this on. And they're like, I just don't know. I just don't know if I like this. But if they're confident, like, hell yeah, I look good. Like that's when it's like green flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I feel like the confidence aspect is obviously just like huge.
Yeah. Well, there's like dual confidence. Like it's like they're confident in knowing what they don't want, and confident in knowing what they do want as far as fashion goes.
Yeah. Fashion or anything.
Or anything.
You're just confident.
Yeah.
10.
10.
Okay.
But we're not doing that.
No, we're not. All right, green flag. You're gonna like this one. Over 6 foot.
Oh, baby.
Tell the world what your rule was.
Oh,
you told me the other day.
I said if you're dating someone that's 2 years younger than you or 3 years younger than you, then they have to be 5 inches over you. If that makes sense. They need to be taller if they're younger. That's kind of my rule. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Like way taller, like over 6 foot.
Have you gone on any dates with younger guys?
I'm so close, but no.
Yeah.
No.
I went on one date with a guy who was 25.
Yeah.
And I just kept being like, oh, you're a baby. Even though it's 2 years, like my brother's 25. So I look at that. Well, you dated my brother, so you dated younger. but looking at it like that, I was like, I feel like when there's emotional intelligence there or
Yeah.
maturity, it's
Sure.
not a big difference. But this kid, I was like, oh, you're a baby. Like, you're a baby.
Well, I
can't date
think
you.
that the deal of it is that, like, that's like such a surface level perception of like the
Yeah.
situation. So it's like when I'm just swiping and I see a 24-year-old and they're like 5'7", I'm like, sorry if anyone's 5'7". So sorry. I'm really sorry. I feel like it's like, I'm like, no. But then that's also really, you don't get to know their heart that way.
I
so
know.
maybe I'm wrong.
I know.
But yeah, other than that though, like over 6 foot and over,
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. But I feel like ultimately, like for both you and I, it's like personality trumps all of that.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, big personality gal. I don't think any of my good exes look the same. I think they all look different. My sister will disagree because she thinks that all my exes look the same, but
I feel like all my exes look so different.
yeah, that's so true.
Because I've like never really had like a specific type. I've always just
You
been
love it.
so...
You do love a baby face.
I do
will
love
say.
a baby
I feel like,
face.
and you
I
are a
know.
baby face. So I wonder what that's about.
I don't know.
On the next podcast.
We're going to psychoanalyze Mackenzie's dating. No, yeah. I feel like, I don't know. It's all personality for me. Like it could go either way.
Yeah, totally.
It's so funny. We've got a toxic trait. My toxic trait, currently planning my wedding and I'm not even engaged. I wonder if she's like
How
actually
close?
I wonder if she's like actually planning it. Like, does she have the venue? Like, has she put deposits on places?
I think that I don't know, if you see it going somewhere, I think this person is looking, and sorry if I know this person, I think this person's maybe looking for some validation to be like, you're good, like, don't worry about it. But like, it's not that huge of a deal. Like, go ahead and plan that wedding.
Yeah, girl. You go, girl.
Go and get it.
Put a deposit on that
Put a
DJ.
deposit. Hell, propose yourself. That's in right now.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. Would you propose to a guy?
Fuck no. No. I'm so insecure. I'd be like, did you want to do this? No.
Be like, here, I bought you the ring for me. You can propose to me.
Yeah, no, I think it's so great, and I love how is nuanced the right word? I don't think it's like, I think it's just very not what I'd want. I'd rather just not get engaged or married at all. I would rather just live in with my partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm down to have like babies out of wedlock now and just
Sure.
have like a longtime
Sure.
boyfriend.
My new niece is out of wedlock, and I love her.
She's a baby.
Yeah.
She's so sweet.
She is a baby, indeed.
She's a baby. Do you want to read a couple?
Oh, sure. I don't know what my reading is. I just learned. Okay. God, this sucks. Doesn't post about you. Won't let you meet family, friends, won't let you look at the phone, doesn't say sorry or apologize. This is super loaded.
Yeah, whoa, that's a lot of things. I think this is coming from a hurt space.
Yeah. Are you okay?
Are you okay, girl?
I would say this is a huge, huge deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
I don't think that not posting someone in their Instagram is like necessarily like a make it or break it thing.
Yeah.
But I think that it is like if it's like a compilation of everything, like you're not meeting their family, you're not apologizing, which I don't know where that goes in with it, but
Yeah.
it's just like you're a shit human, then I'm like, no.
Yeah, I think it'd be a deal breaker for me too. I think the piece about like not looking at their phone, like I don't need to look at anybody's phone. Like I feel like I trust people. Oh, okay, you got some opinions
No,
on
I
this.
love to look at other people's phones.
Really? I feel like I don't need to look at your phone. I don't need you to look at my phone. Like
Yeah.
I'm not hiding anything. Like I've had exes go through my phones
Right.
and not find anything but still be like pissed at me. So I'm like, what the hell? Like you
Totally.
obviously don't trust me. Like that makes me feel a certain type of way.
Right.
But like the not posting me and stuff, like I feel like that would hurt my feelings.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I feel like that totally makes sense for like the world you are in, where you are like your life is, or like your livelihood is your social media, and like your like business
I'm, like,
is social
all
media
out there,
where
yeah.
it's like that's so important. I totally feel like that
Yeah.
makes sense. I think like for me, I don't know if this is my toxic trait, but I kind of like it when they're looking over my shoulder
At your phone?
Yeah. I'm
You're
like, yeah. Like pretending I don't notice, and I'm like, oh, you care, which maybe that's like kind of that's an upstairs issue, but yeah,
that's fine.
no, but for me, like if they don't post me, I'm not necessarily upset about that. Like,
See, I feel like I wouldn't be either, as long as they were like, I feel like I'm so open on my social media,
Yeah.
obviously because of work and
Yeah.
just like that. I just like being social
Yeah.
on social media.
Yeah.
If they were like chill with me posting them, and like I wouldn't care if they weren't posting like hard posting me all the
Right.
time, but I'm like, repost my story, like
yeah, or yeah, at the bare minimum, I have a friend that her boyfriend does not repost her at all, or like post of her, and they've been together for a year. They've, this might
Yeah.
also be really telling of what I'm talking about, but anyway, like they've had huge milestones in their relationship, and he still has not posted her, and it's almost like it's a secret.
Yeah.
For some reason, they haven't posted about their new house, which it's like, I think when you're in the times that we are in right now, I think it's so common and easy to do. So I don't understand what the pickle is there.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like too, like if they're just someone who doesn't post, then I'd be like, oh, this doesn't bother me, because
Right.
it's not like you're posting other things and not
Right.
posting me.
Yeah.
But if you're posting all these other things and like completely leaving me out of your life,
Right.
then I feel like that would be
Yeah,
hurtful.
no, I'd be like, no. Yeah, exactly.
No.
The next one is they body shame.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. Red flag.
Love it. I'm like, tell me what's wrong. Tell me how many push-ups I need to do. I'm joking.
No. Okay, you know this story. When we were at your sister's wedding,
Yeah.
one of the guys came up and grabbed my arm.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, this is my favorite part of your body. And I was like, what? Like, obviously, like,
Right. They probably didn't think that they were shaming
no.
you,
Well,
right?
he said, like, he basically was like, you look great. And I was like, okay, but like, how was that supposed to make me feel great? Because
Right.
it didn't really make me feel great in the
Right.
moment. And so it was like a backhanded
Such a
compliment.
backhanded compliment.
And I was just like, wait a minute. Like, I did not like any piece of that. And so
Right.
to think about how I felt like that when that was meant as a compliment, to think
Right.
if someone was like, you should get in the gym, or maybe you should eat
Yeah,
some salads.
and,
like I would be,
I would be so off put by that, especially like, I mean, as someone who is like a little thicker, I'd be like, okay, obviously I'm already like thinking about that stuff. So it's like,
it's already an insecurity.
It's already insecurity. Like, you don't need to make it worse. Also, words of encouragement go so much further than you being like, oh, like, fatty. Like, I don't know. Like,
I don't know. Like, what? How do you want me to respond to this?
Exactly. And like, also, women in general don't respond well to anything that's regarding their body. So I don't know.
Or I feel like even more unattractive if someone pointed out someone else's body
and was
like
that
out in public or something. I had a boyfriend, an ex that said like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that girl is we were at a Mariners game. He was like, I can't believe she's carrying that much food. If she's eating all of that by herself, I cannot even believe that. And I was like, it was like a hot dog, fries, and like cotton candy or something. And he was like, if she gonna eat that all by herself? And I was like, what?
Like saying she's too small to eat or too big to eat.
It was like derogatory. It was like, I can't believe she's eating that much. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to order a hot dog and fries when we go up at the 5th inning to get something. I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, who are you to comment on somebody else's choices?
Right.
It really bothered me.
That would bother me too. And obviously it stuck with you. So that's also shitty. Mm-hmm. Okay. He sucks at talking about his feelings.
Did someone submit this about me? She sucks at talking about her feelings.
Kenzie sucks at talking about her feelings.
I feel like we can unpack this a little bit.
I think so.
I've talked to you about this a lot. I've talked to Lulu about this a lot.
Right.
Wherever she went. I don't know. Do not like, I feel like I'm really good about talking to you guys about my feelings, but anytime it comes to talking to like a boy about my feelings, like I completely, like, all my walls are up. I don't talk about anything. I feel like that was something that like I learned a lot through my ex, like my marriage. Like I learned, like, I never would have said this hurt my feelings. Right. You would have had no idea that you hurt my feelings. I would have dealt with it on my own. Yeah. And like, or anytime trying to say like, oh, like I genuinely have feelings for you, or I like you, or I care about you. Like, I don't do that. Well, like, I don't know.
And to like also like just like give you a huge compliment. Like, you have grown so much since your last relationship before your ex. Like, before you're like with this guy, before your husband, like he was, like you said, guys, please make me talk about my feelings, because you guys did not see the half of it with this guy. Like, he's honestly like horrible, and I don't feel good. Like, he makes me so miserable, la la la. But we would have no idea because you didn't say anything. And I think with your ex, like, it's more, your most recent ex, like, it's more so just like you processed your feelings for 2 years, and like you let all of us know what was going on. You like did the work to do therapy. Like, I don't want you to think that you don't talk about your feelings, because you definitely do. And I think you've grown so much, especially in relationships, talking about your feelings. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like where you've progressed, I've digressed.
Well, and I feel like, too, like, thinking about it, like, I know, or at least from the perspective what I'm thinking of this person submitting this, of saying like, red flag, he's not good about talking about his feelings. Right. Like, I can talk from a female perspective of like, I'm just really not good at talking about my feelings. I don't know if it's stuff I went through when I was growing up. I don't know if it was just like first relationships and how I reacted to things. Right. But like, some people, it is a lot harder, and like sometimes the other person needs to be patient, or like, I feel like I have attracted more emotional men because I'm less emotionally available. Right,
which is so weird, and weird and how so things work.
They like come on really hard with feelings, so I'm like, okay, I gotta fix this, and I need to shove down my feelings to like make this better. But I feel like I'm learning, and like, thank you for acknowledging, because I do feel like I have grown a lot, and I've learned a lot, and I've been able to be more open about how I am actually feeling. Right. But like, from my perspective and what I'm thinking this girl is talking about, like, I feel like, or at least I'll speak from my perspective, it's hard for me to share feelings, because I'm like, oh, I'm putting myself out there to be vulnerable, and now I have the opportunity to be rejected, or I have the opportunity to be like someone else being like, oh, you feel that way? I don't feel that way at all. Like, I can't believe you like me that way or whatever. And it's just, it's scary, and it's a defense mechanism to put walls up. And like, I know that's why I do it, and I have no idea why, because I haven't really like, I don't know. Like, of course, I've gone through heartbreak or like had those things. Like, I've gone through breakups. I've gone through all of that. It's just,
I think I've like heard this somewhere. Like, the more that you give in the beginning of, like, let's say you're dating or your relationship life, right? The more the heartbreak you have, the less of yourself you have to give to somebody else. And I think that's the reason why so many walls are built up. Like, and because it's like, you're like, oh, well, that hurt me before. Or like, this is like, this broke me before. Or like things like that. And you're like, well, like, now I'm like, I don't have any more to give, so I'm not going to. And like, I think that's a huge, like, obviously a huge therapy moment that people need to go through, you know. But I don't know, giving up your emotions is regardless hard, because then it's like, then you have the chance of rejection of people being like, well, that's fucking stupid. Like, you're emotional, or like, you know. But I don't know.
No, totally. Well, and I think that's something like I'm very aware of, that I'm not super forward with my feelings. And it's something I do want to change, because I do feel like it's only a detriment to me not being able
You've
to. You've
never
like,
told me once if you're annoyed with me.
I've never been annoyed with you. Only one time. I mean, you know the exact time when I was waxing your brows.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't even have a reason to be annoyed with you, because it was my own fault for not telling you to keep your eyes closed. I did. I projected all of it.
This is the people that we're avoiding. I am, because I'm telling you, you're projecting your feelings.
But no, I really was though, and that's the thing. Like, that's a learning moment for me, and you could tell how irritated I was.
My eyes were closed.
I know. But like, I was so okay. So for the people listening and watching,
For the people at home,
I was waxing Lauren's eyebrows, and I had just done her lashes, and I didn't tell her to keep her eyes closed. And like, so long story short, I waxed her eyebrows, and she squinted really bad and then opened her eyes, and I got wax in her lashes that I had freshly done. And I was so frustrated, because it was my fault, because I didn't say keep your eyes closed, and I didn't say like, oh, I'm telling you to do this because I don't want you to get.
I basically had frosted tips on my eyelashes.
She had pink frosted tips on her lashes, and I felt so bad. And it was the first time I think Lauren has ever seen me even slightly irritated.
Next to my lip tattooing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you were also irritated with me.
I wasn't irritated with you. I was irritated with the situation. I was learning something new. I was nervous. But I was like so irritated. But that was the only time I felt like you and I were like, we weren't even butting heads. It was just like, I fucked up and should have said something, and I didn't. And I was just so frustrated with myself.
Weeks.
And then I just felt bad, because I was like, she's got to walk around with pink frosted eyelash tips.
Which, if you know me but at all, I'll go out any which way.
Like, I don't care. It's fine. But I feel like I've gotten better about like sharing
feelings. Oh yeah. Back to the question. Also, for this person,
find someone who does want to share feelings. Maybe they're not the right person.
Yeah, and like, also, don't settle for someone that doesn't want to share if they're not willing to grow. I think that's a bigger part of this too, is like with you, like, you are willing to grow. Like, let's say you're not willing to talk about your feelings with this person, but then they're like, it kind of bums me out that you don't. Then
well, and it's like, that's the thing. Like, I'm actively trying to be different. I want to grow. I want to share my feelings. I want to be able to do that, because I feel like if I don't, I'm not able to have like a really fulfilling relationship that I do want eventually.
This one kind of coincides with the last question, or the last red flag, but they don't believe in going to therapy. I personally think if you don't believe it, then you're like, okay, why? But also like, but there's also so many circumstances to why people can't go to therapy. Like, it's super expensive, and but if they don't believe it, then bye.
Well, and I feel like too, like, therapy's been so useful for me when I was getting through like all my anxiety, or even just like going through a divorce. Like, my therapist, like, I switched therapists, and she is like a badass. Like, I love the girl I talk to now, because she basically was like, no, like, this XYZ is happening. This is happening. This is the way he's treating you. And like, you're not crazy for feeling the way you're feeling. And I was like, thank you. Because sometimes all we want is that validation. And we want that like almost permission to be like, no, the decision you're making like is right for you.
Sure.
Like you're good.
Yeah.
Like do what you need.
Totally.
So I feel like it's been so useful for me. So if someone was just like therapy doesn't work, I'd be like, okay, yeah, done. We're
You
out.
don't work.
Yeah. But I feel like
We don't work.
I feel like everyone could benefit from therapy, but not everyone like
I don't think
needs
everyone
it.
needs therapy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that, but I think everyone, like, it's like good to have a outside party to talk about your feelings.
Well, and I feel like some people too can like listen to a podcast and be like, oh, I'm transformed. I think differently.
Totally.
Or like read a book.
But
like,
what podcasts don't necessarily do is give you the tools and how to, but we'll give you the tools here on this podcast.
we'll give you the tools.
Red flag, he doesn't want to put the dating title on the relationship. My sister hates this one. Every single time, like every single guy I've dated and we become like exclusive rather than boyfriend and girlfriend, she's like, why wouldn't you just date? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like right now, because I'm not in a mindset of like, oh, I need to have a boyfriend or I need to get married again. Like, I don't really think about it. Like, if I was dating somebody, I would just be like, oh, well, we're dating. Or, oh, if we're exclusive. Or, I don't know.
Also, there's like the timing thing. Like, my most recent ex, like, he wanted to be boyfriend and girlfriend, like, within 2 weeks of knowing each other. And I was like, and in my head, I was like, sure.
Does that feel love bomby?
A little love bomby. Yeah.
Just like a lot all at once.
I would say to this person, don't worry about it unless it's like you guys are like meeting each other's families or like, I don't know, they bought you a house. I don't know.
Well, I feel like it's so different too because like, and I just keep coming back to this, but I look at things so differently now. Like I feel like I don't have a time constraint on myself, that I feel like there's no rush to be exclusive or with a boyfriend or whatever. And I feel like too, like, look at things differently. Like, is this someone that your values align? Is this someone that you feel like, oh, I like the traits that they have, I have fun with him, like we have a great time together, we're silly, we're
he treats
playful.
me very nicely, or she treats me super nicely,
they respect me. Look at those things more than like, okay, what is, like, we need a DTR. Or if you feel like you have someone that doesn't want to define the relationship, like, go on other dates. Like, start looking at other people. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket unless it gets to that point. So if you feel like you're not getting something from someone, you might have to go out on other dates.
And settle.
Or set boundaries, because that might make that person either step up or step away, and it's going to get you closer to the person that you are meant to be with.
Totally. Completely agree. This one's fun. Expects oral to please him, yet has not returned the favor in years, all caps.
What?
They expect oral to please...
No, I heard you.
I was like, ooh, did I slur?
Wait, what? I mean, I just feel like...
I will never do that.
If you're not getting it.
If I'm not getting it, you're not getting it either. Well, unless it's circumstantial. I don't know. Unless we like made a bet or like something.
Unless we made a bet. Well, I feel like that's something that's just like when you're intimate with someone, like you should want to do all the things together.
Right.
Like instead of having it be expected. I feel like that's the thing that frustrates me is like I don't want any expectations put on me because I would never put any expectations on someone else.
Right.
So if you're expecting me to do something but you don't want to, I'd be like, sorry, Charlie, not happening.
I know. I've been in situations where like literally like we'll be like waking up or something and they'll just pull off the covers with this like, can I talk how I want to talk? Is it okay?
Yes,
okay.
Talk how you want to talk, Lauren.
Like they pull the covers off and they have just this massive boner and you're like, and they're like, well, what do you want me to do with it? And I'm like, what do you want me to do with it? Nothing. Yeah, no, I think the whole like, it's good to be reciprocal. I think, you know, birthdays, holidays, if you need to just take one for the team, go for it. No, I'm not that like set in stone about this. I think it's like, sometimes you're in the mood to do one and not get, you know what I mean? I don't know. But if they're like years in this all caps, leave him.
Leave him. Or also, like, have you had a conversation with him and been like, I would like to do this more?
Also, like, let's say they're like, oh, well, I don't like doing this because like your hygiene sucks. And then they'd be like, oh, well, I'll shower more.
Well, it's like, how easy was that conversation? Problem solved.
Yeah, no.
Well, I think too, like everything comes down to communication. And
Yeah.
like if your needs aren't being met,
Right.
like you need to speak up. And if that person doesn't want to meet your
Yeah.
needs, then that's not your person.
Communication is the best lubrication, as I always say.
100%.
Okay. Next has more fucking anger issues. They spell it like that. I'm
Has
not sure.
more fucking anger issues. I've definitely like had my fair share of relationships with anger in them, and
Yeah.
I'm like not an angry person.
Right.
But
So
if
you say.
So I say that you know of. But I feel like so many people, or like people that I've dated, have had anger issues of like trauma or things that they've gone through that like they haven't worked through.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really hard because like I said, I come in and I try and fix it, and
Right.
but like I'm not equipped with tools to help someone with anger.
No, and I
Like-
think anger is like such a deep rooted. Honestly, it's almost like it's not mental, but it's like it's an imbalance. I think if you're like overly angry or like just huge, like I think that is something that someone needs to work with like a professional. Like I've also had my fair share of angry people in my life, and like it's never like something that you should have to compromise on, or you know, because especially because that could lead to like a doting relationship or like a docile relationship where you're just bending completely because you're like, well, what will upset this person today?
Like walking on eggshells
yeah, or
all
like
the time.
totally. And I think I'm maybe more leaning towards like a bipolar person, but like I'm also thinking of like you need to be able to have those boundaries with that person. Be like, listen, you flipped, like, and you're expecting me to just be fine after you flip.
Yeah.
Like, not okay.
Well, and I think too, like something my therapist told me was anger is a very easy emotion to have versus actually being sad, and versus actually being like, I have these big feelings that I haven't processed and I'm really sad
Right,
about them.
right.
But anger is really easy to present because it's not weak. It's not
Yeah.
like an inferior emotion to have. And like one of my past relationships, not my most recent relationship, but like he picked up and threw something at the wall, and I was like, I'm done. Like I'm out. I like
Yeah,
walked out and
bye.
left. I was like, I am not like, whoa, I'm not dealing with this. But like when I'm met with anger, like, and I hate this part of myself, but
Cry.
I will scream at you, and
Yeah.
I will yell, and I'll hit below the belt. And like, I don't ever want that to come into any new relationship
Right.
because like I hate being that person.
Yeah.
But when I'm met with anger, like I just go at it.
Well, that's why those like zones exist where you can go and break shit at like
Yes.
different, like,
Yeah.
like to take it out on a physical sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally with you. I think that like if you know that about yourself and like you know, I don't know. I think there's also just that emotional maturity of like I
Yeah.
can discern whether or not this is going to be something I need to freak out about, or you know, I don't know.
Well, and I think too, after talking to my therapist and having her say that like anger is easier to present than sadness, like now me knowing that and having those tools,
Yeah.
like how I would greet someone who, or like react to someone who's angry now versus how I did in the past. Because, and I think too, knowing that like that anger is not because of something I did.
Right.
Like this is something that's going on internally that like has nothing to do with me.
Right.
And I think that would change my reaction to things moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think too, just like looking at all of those things differently, like having the full picture, which you don't always have right in the moment.
Right.
It's so easy to react in a certain way.
Yeah. I wish I was like you. I wish I got angry more. I feel like I cry instead of getting angry.
There's definitely times where I'm so angry that I cry.
Yeah, my
but like
go-to emotion is just tears.
Well,
like happy, sad, angry. Can't
sometimes
help it.
I feel that way too, though. I like look at it because I feel like because I have all these walls up and I don't like share my emotions as often, there
Yeah.
are times like I'll tell Lulu or I'll tell my mom, I'm like, I wish I could just cry to get these emotions out, but
Yeah.
I can't. Like
Do you have like a sad movie you can watch or something?
it doesn't work. I'm like
doesn't
sitting there, I'm
work.
like, cry, please. Like something. Like I need to get this
it's
out.
like the
but,
holiday of Cameron Diaz. in the
Yes.
holiday.
Yes, exactly. I'm in the
like,
in the back of the taxi, like trying.
Okay, I'm gonna let you read
Okay.
now.
Do
'cause
some good ones.
I'm done. Just kidding.
You're done. Red flag. He spends more time getting ready than me. Red flag for me. I take quite a bit of time getting ready.
I'm
I
so
can,
fast.
I can do it pretty quick, but like also I like to take my time. So if he has to take longer than
I
me,
have years of practice because of my sister. Like, I feel like just like she takes so long to get ready and I don't. And so I just learned patience. I'm looking at her right now.
you learned patience. Ooh, red flag. He or she is rude to restaurant staff.
No, never.
Have you ever dated anyone that was rude to restaurant staff?
Yeah, my most recent boyfriend, first context. So my sister's husband works at one of the Edmonds restaurants, and he didn't know that when we like walked,
that we frequent,
he didn't know that he was just like serving us. And so then, not that he was rude or anything, but when we got the bill, like we were like, it was very clear that we knew this guy, like much more. My sister married him, like, you know, like, but
we didn't just know him. He's family.
Yeah, he's family. And we're like, so then the bill comes and he like looks at me and he's like looking at the tip, and then we're like leaving, and he's like, yeah, I like way under tipped that guy. And I go, what? And I was like, wait, I was like, do you know who that is? And he's like, not that it matters, but like, I was like, do you know who that is? He's like, no. He's like, yeah, your friend. I go, no, that's my like brother-in-law. Like, what the fuck? And I was just like, and then he's like, oh my God, I would have tipped so much more if I knew who he was. And I was like, no,
what?
Like regardless.
Well, and you know how I feel about this. Like, I don't tip any less than 25%.
Yeah.
Like
you were a great tipper.
Well, like I worked in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
I worked in like service industry.
Yeah.
I am in the service industry.
Yeah.
And like, it's such a huge compliment when someone does tip you or acknowledge it. Like,
Right.
It's obviously doesn't have to be monetary, but even someone's words acknowledging like,
Yeah.
they loved the service that you gave them, or they had a good connection with you.
Well, like, yeah, exactly. And then I think just like the core of the question, like, don't like being rude to a waiter, like even if they're like kind of a dick to you, like just like be kind. Like,
well,
I think you're going there, you're getting food, like,
well, especially
unless they're like really mean.
Well, if it's something too about something they can't control, like when people get upset about their food taking a long time, like it's not the server isn't back there in the kitchen cooking your meal.
Right.
Like, also, if you went during rush hour, sit your ass down, have a drink. Your food's going to get here when it's going to get here. Like, relax.
Yeah.
Like, are you really in that big of a rush? Do you have something to get to? Like, that is something, too, that bothers me. And people are, like, in such a rush where they feel like other people's time isn't important.
Right.
Relax, Karen.
Right. Seriously.
Sit your ass down.
Sit your ass down,
You're
which is so
fine.
sad because my nickname used to be Karen in college.
Your alter ego.
My alter ego when she got too drunk.
Yeah.
And more fun. But
more fun. No, I love that.
No, yeah.
So yeah,
Deal breaker. Big
for
time.
sure. He's red flag. He snores so loud you can hear him behind 2 closed doors.
That's fine. Like, whatever.
Will you be able to sleep though?
I've always thought that like if that ever happened, like I love being in my own bed. I don't really care.
You'd
if,
have
like,
a
there's
separate
a time
bed.
if we have separate bedrooms. Like if we stay in the same bed and then like at night, like when like we're all asleep and then the snoring starts, and then I go to my own room. I don't really care. But like also go to a doctor.
But also check yourself.
But also get a sleep apnea machine.
Honestly, I've like slept in a bed with someone who snores so much, like girls, like on girls trips.
I
Not
snore.
you, not you.
I fucking snore.
No, and I can't sleep. Like I'm all about white noise. Like I need to have a fan going.
Yes.
I need to have something going on. But if you're snoring so loud that I can't sleep, I can't do it. But I'm down with like separate beds. Like I'd be down to have separate bedrooms with a future husband.
Yeah, I also
like
agree.
I've seen that.
I think that's fine. I think just everyone's sleeping habits are different.
That's true. Okay, we've got another one. Red flag mommy issues. I don't know if I've ever dated anyone with mommy issues.
I don't think I have either.
Have you ever dated someone that like their mom was so obsessed with them they thought you were like replacing them or like taking their spot?
Not that I know of. I've really never dated anyone long enough for that to like come to the light. Amy Schumer has a funny bit where she's like talking as a mom and she's like, "Wait, I wanted to fuck him," like to the girlfriend. Like,
oh no!
Like I think I've seen that kind of situation before. And I think it's like so just like let it go, like let them go.
Yeah.
But there's also just those moms that just can't. Like, okay, candidly speaking, like, your mom is so, like, attached to you, Lulu and Jake. Like, loves you guys so much, but never once has it been, like,
like awkward or too much.
Or like
overbearing.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, like, in that case, like, where it's like, oh, they love them a lot. But, like, I think the mommy issue thing is, like, more so, like, the people that can't get away from their moms. They call incessantly, or is that the right word? They call all the time, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah. Or they can't do anything without, like, their approval.
Right. I don't know.
Tough cookie.
That's probably just not my speed. I'm not here to compete with your mother.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, like, I want to be homies with your mom. Like, I want to, like, talk shit about you when you were little.
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear all the stories or the embarrassing moments. Like, I want her to be, like, my friend. Like, I don't want to compete for your attention.
Right. Not at all.
No. But I also will be like, okay, she's your gal. Like, I don't need all your attention. Like, if your mom needs you, like, I'm solid. But also, like, can I come? Can I hang out?
Can I be there too?
Can I be involved? Can I witness this relationship? I feel like if it's a good relationship with your mom, I think those are, like, really cool to see. Like, really cute.
Any type of guy that respects their mother and, like, loves their mother in a very healthy way, like, I think that's so admirable and so sweet.
I feel like that's a huge thing, especially, like, if you're on, like, the first couple dates with someone, and then like, I ask about parents, I ask about family, I ask about siblings,
that's such
and,
a
like,
good quality.
hearing them talk about their family, like, I feel like you get a really good glimpse into their relationships. And the guys that are like, I love my mom, she's the sweetest thing in the world, like, she's so funny, like, I'm like, okay, you'll treat me well. But if they're like, my mom's a bitch,
my mom's a fucking bitch,
I hate
you
that
wanna know
lady.
what she made me do? Take out the trash.
Yeah,
Or
like, no, but totally, like, you get a good glimpse of, like, what their relationships are like.
totally.
I think that's cool to see.
Oh, gosh, there's so many good, like, red flags or deal breakers.
I know.
I feel like everything's just a red flag these days.
Everything.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think it's hard too, like, in a world where we can swipe and have unlimited options, like, the world is our oyster.
I was thinking about that yesterday. Like, I was, like, having myself a nice relaxing night, you know, took a bath.
I know, I saw all your things. It looked so nice.
Read, had some wine, ordered pizza kind of thing. And this guy, like, swiped on me and he's like, can I come over and give you a massage? And I thought,
wait, what?
And I thought, I'll consider it. And then I was like, nah. And I was like, see, just so many options. I was like, maybe another time.
Not right now.
Not right now.
I know we also wanted to kind of talk about, like, things that we do wrong in the beginning of relationships. Everything.
That's why I have a 4-month mark on my relationships.
Well, like, do you feel like there's, like, what do you think it is that you do? Or do you feel like there's other things, like, people could learn from that you feel like, okay, what is something that I present myself a certain way, or I, like, do this too early, or whatever?
Something my sister actually brought light to me. I feel like that's the second time I've said this. But she told me that I have an ick as a defense mechanism from, like, getting too close to people. And I think that's, like, definitely true. Like, I will, like, I feel like I'll do everything in my power to kind of destroy a relationship before it gets too close. And I think that's definitely, like, a problem with me. Like, I'll, like, honestly, like, bring them in situations that I know I'm gonna be like no, thank you.
Like, oh, I don't like them anymore.
Right. And so I feel like with that, like, I think that's a huge, like, learning lesson for me now that that's kind of been, like, the pattern in the last relationships that I've had, that, like, maybe, like, now I need to, like, not bring people around for a couple of months or 6 months or whatever before I, like, I just, like, think
to make sure you really
like and then first. Like, also just, like, let myself get close without having,
like, added pressure of, like, oh, my friends need to like you, or my family needs to like you.
And I think know this about me, but, like, I am a huge friends person. Like, like, my friends are who I am with most, and so I just think automatically, like, well, if you can't fit in with my friends, then, like, you don't get to fit in with me. And I think that's kind of a problem, because at the end of the day, I'm not marrying my friends. I'm not spending the rest of my life with my friends. Like, I mean, God willing, yeah, of course. I don't know. I mean, I would love to all rent a house out with, like, 19 bedrooms. Or just live
we all live together all
I don't
the time.
see a problem with that. But anyway, because that's not exactly the most ideal situation. I just think that that's kind of a huge thing that I'm trying to work on.
Yeah.
And also just not getting icked out so easily, which I hate that ick is now, like, a huge, like, it's a big, like, it's a catchphrase BOGO word, but whatever.
Well, when you get the ick, do you feel like you actually are like, oh, I don't like them? Or do you feel like
I
it
don't even
really is
wanna
like a wall you're putting up because you're like, I don't want to get close?
In my head, I'm like, I don't even want to look at you in the eye. Like,
I'm done immediately.
It's so harsh.
Well, do you feel like that's
that.
a gut feeling though, that you're like, okay, like I actually don't want to be with you?
With my most recent ex, that was definitely like a gut feeling. I think I like, because he ended up being like more jealous and more anything than I would like. But like, I think that's honestly more something that, I don't know. I think it's definitely a wall builder. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you?
What about me? I feel like I play it way too cool for way too long. Like, I know I've talked about this. Like, I said something to you and Ann the other day, and you're like, "Oh, cool girl," and I was like, I just play the cool girl.
Oh yeah,
and I like do it for way too long.
You play it for way too long.
Well, and like I've gotten like feedback from guys, like in the past, being like, "Well, it seems like you're uninterested."
Right.
And I'm like, "No, I'm very interested." They're like, "Well, I would have no idea."
Right.
Because I feel like I very much just like want someone to pursue me. Like,
but
I
that's
don't want
not. Yeah, that's just not how the world works.
I know.
Like, and I think I've been trying to tell you this. It's like like relationships are so give and take, and I think that's kind of like an old school way to look. Like, oh, they court you, they like take care of you, and they like you know they are making all the first moves. But like men are equally as insecure as women are, and I think you know, just like taking that step to be like, text them first once in a while.
Know. Well, that's
but
the
don't
thing,
go
like,
overboard. Don't be like me, who like literally will send text after text.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I won't text. I won't reach out. Like, I'll play the waiting game.
Yeah, and do you see how that could look? Like,
yeah, no, I do. I think about that now because I'm like, oh, it literally does seem like I'm completely uninterested,
right.
or like I have just no thought to even like pursue anyone. Right. And I think too, because that puts me up to be in a position of being vulnerable and like getting rejection,
which is totally circling back to like
I know the same
beginning.
Thing that I've like been dealing with. So I feel like that's like a goal for myself moving forward, to be like, okay, it's okay for me to put myself out there. Yeah. It's okay for me to.
And truly, what is the worst thing that can happen? They reject you. You find out that someone doesn't want to be with you. Well, you don't want to be with that person anyway.
And then you find someone new.
Then you find someone new. The world is so big.
It's so big. Well, and you want to be with someone who wants to be with you, obviously, at the end of the day.
I know. I mean, it's weird to believe that life is beyond Edmonds, but we can.
It's beyond Ingles?
It's beyond Ingles. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I know.
Yeah, but you're working on it. We're working on it.
Yeah, all of us. Well, I think that's what, like, I really appreciate about all our friends is I feel like all of us are continuing, like, even though we're in our degenerate phase. Yeah. I feel like we're all people who want to learn and grow. We want to become our favorite versions of ourselves, and we want to grow together, and we want to, like, just have fun.
I mean, even when Brayden and I went to dinner the other night, and we were like just talking just about how we are in relationships and what we're looking for next and all that stuff, and like even be able to have those conversations like just with your guy friends and just seeing like, oh well, like I didn't understand what your perspective looked like on like how you see how women date and like vice versa and all that stuff. I think it's just like we just need to keep having these conversations, which I'm so glad that you started this podcast, because like now we can like talk about it and like actually like focus on talking about it.
Like really go
without being interrupted by like green tea shots.
I know, we can unpack these situations. Well, and I think it'll be fun to have the guys on, like,
yes.
And it's funny too, because I'm like, oh yeah, I want to interview all these people, and I'm like, no, I just want to interview my friends. Like, I just want to have my friends on the pod.
Oh man,
so funny,
so good.
Is there any closing remarks you have or want to talk about?
No, but I mean, see, when I'm happy, I cry. I feel like this has just like been so much fun, and I'm so glad that I got to come on.
I'm so glad that you got to come on too. I know we've literally been wanting to do this.
This is my passion.
Years.
Literally, God, just to talk. I would love to just get paid to talk.
I know. Well, we'll definitely have Lauren back on.
Yeah.
She'll be back.
Unless we're like, never have that bitch on again.
The worst reviewed episode of all time.
Too many hot takes. Not enough hot takes.
All of it was a hot take in my opinion.
Yeah. But thank you. You're doing such a good job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Well, this is the wrapping it up, I guess. So subscribe, like, write us a review for a chance to win a t-shirt, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.